Harriet Tatham, ABC News, Gunnamulla. Harriet Tatham, ABC News, Mount Isa. Harriet Tatham in the Simpson Desert. Harriet Tatham, ABC News, Mount Isa.
Harriet Tatham reports from Cloncurry. Mining is the lifeblood of the northwest Queensland city of Mount Isa, but its impact on the communities most vulnerable is being called into question. A sample of 1,000 under 5-year-olds has found that about a quarter has concerning lead levels. While the mine continues to reduce its emissions, critics say more needs to be done, and a senior Queensland minister has added weight to the call.
17-month-old Myra Chinaria moved to Mount Isa with her family 2 months ago. Already, she has too much lead in her tiny body.
They did a prick test and her levels came out to be 6.1.
Her mother says she was aware of the risks of living in the mining city. She followed advice to mitigate them, but couldn't stop lead entering her daughter's system.
I clean my house hygienically, I prepare everything in a neat environment. Yeah, I can't do anything better than that.
For a decade, mining giant Glencore has funded blood tests to check children's lead levels in Mount Isa. 5 micrograms of lead per decilitre of blood is the level which requires investigation. But the latest figures show a quarter of children tested were equal to or above that, some dangerously high.
It impacts their neurological development, it's associated with ADHD, the loss of IQ points, behavioural development.
Vast mineral deposits are why Mount Isa developed. A town literally grew around a mine. Lead in the environment is a risk to small children, but so too is the mining operation. A 2017 report commissioned by Glencore acknowledged it was a source of potentially significant lead pollution. And despite a massive reduction in emissions, children continue to present with high lead levels. Mount Isa Mines says it operates under state government regulatory standards and believes the city is a safe place to live and work. But critics say something needs to change.
It's evident that they have a licence to pollute.
The Queensland government has always maintained the northwest mining city is a safe place to live, but the health minister concedes it's far from perfect.
Well, I think clearly more does need to be done. This is an ongoing effort and it needs to continue.
He says having a population on the doorstep of a mining operation is far from ideal.
Clearly, if you were designing a city from scratch, you might not have designed it the way Mount Isa is designed, but this is a legacy issue.
The very fact that the government has admitted that more needs to be done is a really important statement.
But many families in the city are adamant there's no problem with lead.
We're not concerned about lead at all. The kids have regular hygiene, showers, they don't eat the dirt or anything like that.
And they're not alone. A recent study in Mount Isa found a large number of people feel the same.
50% of the parents here in Mount Isa perceive that high lead level is not a concern for their child because they don't perceive their child could get high lead levels, and it is because they think they are managing well.
Maya Chinaria's mother says that's a worrying attitude.
If it's making any difference to their cognitive level, you will not know until it will be done.
She says every parent should have their child tested to see if they are living with lead. Hundreds of millimetres of rain has fallen across parts of Western Queensland, and the Bureau of Meteorology is warning there's more on its way. In the last 24 hours, Cloncurry has had 100 millimetres of rain, and to the north, Carsland has had almost 300 millimetres. Roads have been cut between Townsville and Mount Isa, preventing truck drivers from delivering fresh bread to the shelves.
I think we'll get there, just got to wait for the policeman to say we can get through. It doesn't often rain like this time of year especially.
Much of Western Queensland is drought declared. What is usually red dirt is now flowing rivers, and the soaking rain is welcome for the locals.
It's good to see. It's been a long time and we had a hot summer.
For Western Queensland, we haven't seen this kind of rainfall in a very long time. It is very rare to see some of this heavy rainfall, particularly those totals around that Mount Isa Cloncurry region.
In Mount Isa, the town has been split in half with water overflowing at the Isabella Holt crossing. A severe weather warning is still in place for much of the northwest interior, with rain in excess of 100 millimetres expected to fall throughout the day. The sun's just set and these rangers are on duty, searching for turtle tracks on one of the country's most remote beaches.
There's a track that goes up there.
As the giant creatures make their way up the sand and dig their nest, the rangers wait, recording the turtles' every movement.
Well, at the moment I'm just measuring the turtles' shuttling.
Before they hoist them upright and tag them for future monitoring.
I think about there, right?
Yeah.
The methodology we use is a lot of our ancient technology from our ancient forefathers before us, how they managed country. We've gone back into the past to understand that, but also marry that with modern day science.
Despite the isolation, even here the turtles face threats.
Without our team, these beaches would be devastated by introduced species, introduced weeds, by illegal fishermen, etc. So we're the thin line.
For the nesting season, the rangers from the Carpentaria Land Council camp at the beach to protect the tired turtles and their eggs. They're Gangalida and Garua people. Their exclusive native title holding is one of the biggest in the country, and they want to protect their traditional lands and the animals who call it home. Rangers have been systematically removing feral pigs and weeds since the program began a decade ago, but they say it's too early to talk about success. Instead, they're focused on securing this coastline for the lucky turtles who will survive the ocean's perils and return here in years to come. Kids are encouraged to come along in the school holidays, learning to look after their land and connect with their culture.
Gives them an identity, shows them who they are, where they come from, and something to be proud of.
We grew up to protect, preserve and look after this pristine environment as old people introducing us to it all and making us understand it young. So we're continuing that tradition and culture and hoping we get the same benefit.
And the new recruits love every second.
Bye, turtle.
Traditional landowners protecting sea turtles for generations to come.